In this episode of the Locked On NBA Big Board Podcast, it is Deep Sleepers Part 2. If you missed Part 1, James and I, we shared our thoughts on several deep sleepers that have not been on mainstream draft boards. And in this episode, it is Part 2. Stay tuned to hear our thoughts on some guys that you probably have never heard of, but we think deserve your attention. Big shout out to each and every person that has made the Locked On NBA Big Board Podcast your first listen of the day. I am your host, Rafael Barlowe, along with my co-host, who happens to be my brother, James. And this episode is sponsored by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. And if you are not subscribed to the YouTube channel, I am not so sure what is taking so long. Please subscribe, like, share, comment, click the bell so you can be notified every time we drop an episode, because we are coming at you 5 days a week at the very minimum. And also, I want to let you know about the Locked On newsletter. February 6th is the trade deadline, so it's going to be a lot of movement going on in the NBA. So whichever team you support, they have a newsletter at lockedondaily.com. It is your one-stop for ultimate team and league coverage. Check it out. All right. Yesterday, we did a podcast called Deep Sleepers Part 1. We talked about Adrian Woolley from Kennesaw State, Will Sitnor from Manhattan, Jackson Money from North Dakota State, Hayden Gray from
UC San Diego,
Cam Williams from Tulane, Cruz Davis from Hofstra, and Keontae Jones from Cal State Northridge. If you like sleepers, you got to check out Part 1. In this Part 2, we're going to dig a little bit deeper in the crates on some sleepers. I personally love these episodes. James and I, we just talked offline between episodes like, man, I love doing sleepers. And I likened it in the first episode to being an artist that, I listen to a lot of rap music. Being an artist where you put out your mixtapes, where you have like total freedom and creative control, as opposed to putting out hits that, you know, the mainstream is going to like. And even though I like talking about Cooper Flagg and Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper, I equally enjoy, if not more, talking about the sleepers, the guys that people haven't heard of. Like, I want to find the Alex Carusos, the Jayshawn Tates. You think about Jalen Wells. Wasn't really talked about a lot. And, is he going to win Rookie of the Year? Like, he probably is Rookie of the Year. At least, at the very minimum, first team All-Rookie. Was a player that was hiding in plain sight last year. What's my man's name in New Orleans? Jose Alvarado. I like looking for those players. I want to find those guys that just kind of fly under the radar. And that's what we're trying to do in these 2 episodes. We're trying to uncover some guys that are potential NBA prospects that just aren't getting a lot of love. Now, honestly, some of these guys may never step a foot in the NBA. But if 1 or 2 of them do,
hey man, shout out to us.
Where you heard it first. All right, James. Yeah. I went first last episode. You're on the clock this one. Who is a sleeper that NBA teams, if you're listening, if you're an NBA team, if you're a scout, you're a GM, or just casual fans or diehard draft fans, who is a player?
Or Power 5 school.
No, we're not.
I'm not advocating it. I'm just saying, if something sticks out.
I don't want the schools coming at me like, man, you encouraged my guy to hit the portal.
No, I didn't say that. All right, so I'm up first, and we're going to start this off with the most interesting name of all the guys we've talked about. Let's go with Bubu Benjamin from Tarleton State. 6'7", 205. He hails from Canada, and if my geography is good, AB is for Alberta, Canada. I don't even hear about hoops in Alberta, Canada. That's like the real cold part. That's not Drake. That's not Vancouver. That's not even Montreal. So Bubu Benjamin, 6'7", 205. On the season, Rob, he's averaging 15 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists per game. He is shooting 39% from 3 on 4 attempts per game. 1.7 steals, half a block. Turns the ball over a lot, but he is leading the WAC conference in minutes played. So let me tell you a little bit more about Bubu. Lanky, he's a good athlete, and he can really shoot the basketball. Again, if we're talking about the most translatable position to make it to the NBA, to go from no name to possibly getting yourself an opportunity to earn that check, it is the 3-and-D wing. And Bubu Benjamin is that very much so, a 3-and-D wing. And he also has 47 stocks on the season, mostly influenced by steals, but he can really shoot the ball. Not the best athlete in the world, but at 6'7" with long arms. Yeah, Bubu Benjamin, he reminds me of, and again, it could be complexion comparison, it could be a native tribe comparison, but JT Thor. JT Thor, I don't even know how he's not in the league, because he played well for South Sudan in the Olympics. And maybe that's an opportunity. Maybe he gets another opportunity somewhere else, because I know he's at the Canton Charge right now. But
he's averaging 15 points a game with the Canton Charge.
I don't know, in Charlotte, his the 3-ball was kind of inconsistent. But Bubu Benjamin, 6'7", shooter, 3-and-D guy, Tarleton State. He's somebody to monitor. If not for the portal, I didn't tell him to go to the portal, but if not for the portal, if not for the draft in a few years, the portal.
All right. Okay, that's a good one. I'll be honest. 100% honest. I had never heard of Bubu Benjamin. Tarleton State's not too far, so we might have to check him out. I imagine they probably got their conference tournament somewhere close.
I mean, but the WAC, man, that's in Seattle. They got teams in Arizona, man.
Yeah, we just know the west of the Mississippi. That's all we know. So we're west.
Chicago State was in the WAC. I don't know if they still are. Yeah, I don't know about that one, right?
You right. All right, I got one for you. Tyrone Riley I'm not good at my Roman.
That's 4, Jordan 4s, right?
Tyrone Riley IV. I know a lot of people know their Roman numerals because of Jordans.
That's what I know.
But I'll give my age here. I never needed to know Jordan by Roman numerals because I was in first grade when the first ones came out. So when I was in 6th grade, the Jordan 6s. And then after like 14, I just, that's when they fell off to me. But so Jordans, I never had to know my Jordan Roman numerals. But most shoe collectors, they know Roman numerals just because of Jordan. So we're going to talk about Tyrone Riley IV. The numbers aren't going to wow you. 10 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist per game, shooting 53% from the floor, 39% from 3, 1.2 steals. What I like about Riley, he's also a freshman at San Francisco. San Francisco is a school that is quietly putting out some good prospects. They have Malik Thomas, who could also be on this list. I mean, he's averaging like 20 points a game. He had a couple 30-point games last month. Then you had Jamari Bouye, who was buckets, came out of San Fran a couple years ago. And then you had Jonathan Mobo, who was one of the surprises of the 2024 NBA draft. So San Fran, whatever you're doing, man, you are, I mean, talk about finding deep sleepers.
Right.
That's what San Fran has done. And I think Riley could be next. Good athlete. He's a lefty. What I like about him is that he's like 6'6", but he's like rugged. 6'6", 180. Again, that doesn't sound like the dimensions of a rugged player, but he does a lot of his work in the paint. He's a good rebounder. He's active on the glass, loves to crash the offensive glass, loves to play through contact. He's blue collar, despite somewhat of a thin frame. He's a good transition finisher, intuitive off-the-ball cutter, good athlete, vertical lob threat, but he can also shoot. Again, he is shooting 39% from 3, and he fits the bill. And actually, the 39% from 3, it's not on a great volume of attempts. It's 3 attempts per game, but he fits the bill as your wing that is like obviously 3-and-D, but James and I don't know if we like coined it, but you got to be more than 3-and-D. you got to have something on offense when the shot isn't falling. So he's like your 3-and-D off the ball cutter, 3-and-D transition finisher, 3-and-D hustler, energy guy that I think deserves some NBA buzz. All right, up next, James is on the clock. Let's see what sleeper James has uncovered. All right, before we get into the second segment, let's talk about today's sponsor, which is Game Time. Are you looking for tickets for your next big event, whether it is a concert, a comedy show, or an NBA game? You can find the best tickets at Game Time, and finding a ticket at the right price can actually be a headache. But with Game Time Picks, it has never been easier. With Game Time Picks, the app does all the hard work for you. It curates the best deals, so you don't have to waste time searching through endless ticket listings. And the best part is when you get a ticket on Game Time, you're covered with Game Time's lowest price guarantee. If you find a better deal somewhere else, they'll refund you 110% of the difference. Plus, your tickets are guaranteed to be delivered on time with easy cancellation options if something comes up. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the promo code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, use the redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, second segment. We talked about Bubu Benjamin, best name so far from Tarleton State. I shared my thoughts on San Fran's Tyrone Riley IV. All right, James, who is a sleeper that you somehow uncovered that you think deserves some NBA draft love?
All right, I got the pewters pewting. Ethan Taylor, 6'5" guard for Air Force. Now, the thing is, if you don't know anything about the Air Force outside of that they fly planes, the basketball team has a rule. You can't be over, I believe, 6'7". So, Ethan Taylor is what we call a basketball player because, hey, you got to do a little bit of everything. When at 6'5", you're probably the second tallest guy on the team, at least the tallest one on the starting five. So, out of Houston, Ethan Taylor averaging 15 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists per game. Now, Ethan Taylor can shoot the basketball. Is he an NBA prospect? I wouldn't say long term, but when you're shooting 7 threes a game as a junior, shooting 36%, 8 threes a game as a senior, shooting 41% from three, the three-point ball in today's NBA is paramount, and he has a burner. And it's not just catching and shooting. He's the best player on the Air Force team, which means he gets a lot of the defensive coverages, but he can create his own shot, and there's a lot of step-back threes. I do not imagine if he does get the opportunity to play in the NBA, he will be shooting step-back threes, but off the catch, Raf, he is just flat out deadly. Like, I got him at 53% shooting unguarded on three. So, again, he's got good size as an off guard, and maybe, just maybe, he's going to play with the Luka type, LeBron type, where we just need you to be a corner boy. You have good size and you play defense. And encouraging about him being 53% shooter unguarded is that him playing at Air Force where they have height restrictions, like he has to rebound. So, again, in my mind, I'm thinking a 6'5" guard that can shoot the ball from three and rebounds, you deserve a look. So I'm going to shout out and show salute to Ethan Taylor from Air Force.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I like the fact that you're like projecting of what he has to do.
Yeah,
so when you're at Air Force with the rule, everybody, I mean, they have to rebound as a team.
Correct.
It's kind of like your high school coach says, we have to rebound as a team. Everybody has to contribute on the glass. It is definitely true at Air Force. It's not like, I mean, yeah, you can say it at every other school, but, like Duke, for example, hey, we got a 7-footer. We got a glass cleaner.
They got glass cleaners on the bench at Duke.
Yeah.
Like if you're at Air Force, you have to do everything because they don't take transfers, right? I don't think they have an NIL package. So like you're there and you have to contribute. And like I said, at 6'5", averaging 6 rebounds a game, like he's and they're in the Mountain West. Like you're playing against San Diego State. We're gonna talk about a young fella there. You're playing against Nick Clifford at Colorado State. Like you're going up against some really good competition. So again, rebounding, shooting, those things translate as a 6'5" guard. So I see you, Ralph Meyer, and it's all right though.
Okay, that was a good one. All right, I got one for you. And this is a player that, if I'm a GM, you talk about swing for the fences. Now, I know like Nico Harrison is getting blasted for swinging for the fences. I don't know if I was.
I don't even know if that's swinging for the fences. What he's
I don't
doing.
know if I would make that swing. Shout out to Nico though. I like Nico. I get why everybody's upset, but I mean he is just getting. I mean, absolutely just. People are just torching him on social media. But anyway, I digress. But if I'm a GM of a team, I'm swinging for the fences. And this guy right here, call me Cecil Fielder, call me Rob Deere, call me Jose Canseco. Hey, either I'm going to hit a home run or I'm going to strike out. Magoon Gwath.
I'm familiar with his game, but go ahead.
From San Diego State, 7-foot freshman. And what I like about him, other than the fact that he has excellent positional size, he does not move like a 7-footer. He's fluid. He's athletic. He moves like a wing, very coordinated, has some perimeter skills, shows some flashes of ball handling, attacking off the dribble. When he can't get to the rim, he has that ability to turn it into a post up to where, like if he wants to shoot threes first. That's the thing. He wants to space the floor, but he has the ability, hard closeout, which it's already going to be tough to close out on a 7-footer that can shoot, but he does have the ability to put the ball on the floor. But like I said, if he can't get there 1 or 2 drives and there's a smaller man on him, he knows how to turn it into a back down, into a post up. He shoots over smaller opponents. He has the tools to be just an impactful transition finisher and rim runner. Unfortunately, he likes to spot up for threes in transition instead of running the floor. The numbers aren't going to impress you. 8 points, 5 rebounds, averages less than an assist a game, shooting 48% from the floor, 35% from three. But he's also averaging 2.5 blocks per game
in 25 minutes per game. Yeah.
So he's had some big. He has some big games. Like, for example, he had one not too long ago against San Jose State. I know San Jose State is probably one of the weaker programs, but he had 24 points, 7 rebounds with 3 of 6 from three. Had a game against Nevada where he was 7 of 7 from the floor. He really caught my attention against Gonzaga. Even though he didn't score, he had 5 blocks in like 14 minutes. So against some of the better opponents, against Creighton, he didn't really do much. He had 7 points. Against Oregon, he had 2 points. But then he had a game against Fresno where he had 25 points. He was 10 of 13 from the floor, made 3 or 4 from three. But you look at his blocks, he's had 3 games of 5 blocks or more. So with that being said, 7-footer that can protect the rim, that is shooting 35% from three and moves like a wing, that is hard for me to pass up. He's a freshman. Now, he's a redshirt freshman, but I am gambling on that type of talent. I'm gambling on those measurables. And if you got a lob threat, rim protector, and floor spacer, you have something.
I like that one. I'm familiar with his game. I would like to see him get another year under his belt because he's got some guys. I think was it Miles Bird is going to be drafted. So, but next year I want to see what it looks like. You're not rolling the dice, no?
Look, if I'm an NBA team, I'm telling him, hey, we're going to give you a 2-way and we're going to develop you.
Okay.
If I'm the Lakers, for example, hey, come out here. I'd even tell look, even if you don't get drafted, we have your phone ready after pick number 60. It's probably 58 this year. Have your phone ready. We're calling you. We're going to have you in South Bay. We got the playmakers. You're going to get open looks. Hey, we just need you to run the floor. And you're doing a bunch of drills where you just jumping and catching lobs. And we're going to develop you. We're going to develop you. We'll even take your time, brother. Take your time, because if you put it together, even if it takes you 2 or 3 years, we have a unique situation. We got a 7-footer that shows flashes of being able to attack closeouts, put the ball on the floor, good touch, shoot the ball. Now for him, yeah, he could probably get big money in NIL. And again, I'm not encouraging him to leave.
You got to put a disclaimer at the bottom, man.
But I do think he's going to have decisions to make because, Miles Byrd is drawing some attention. And we're probably going to talk about him a lot more coming up as we get into February and March and so on. But he's talented enough to where he's going to draw a lot of attention. He is going to have options. But if I'm an NBA team, this is the type of player that I want to have in my development, especially if I have a G League team in close proximity, because he has what you can't teach: size, athleticism, shooting, and the ability to protect the rim. So Magoon Gwath is one of my deep sleepers.
Okay.
All right, up next, we have a couple more sleepers to talk about. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. What are some of your relationship green flags? We often hear about the red flags that we should avoid, but what if we focus more on identifying the positive signs in our relationships? Those green flags. If you are not sure what they look like, therapy can help you identify them, actively practice them, and even embody the green flag within yourself. So whether you are dating, whether you are married, building a friendship, or just working on yourself, therapy can help you form relationships that you love back. BetterHelp makes it easy by offering online therapy with over 30,000 licensed therapists to choose from. And if you need to switch therapists, you can do that at no extra cost. So you can discover the relationship green flags with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com /lockedonnba for 10% off your first month. That is betterhelp.com /lockedonnba. All right, last segment. You're up, James. You are.
All right, Raf. This one right here, I feel good about. This just in. This one right here, I dug up through the trenches late in the shot clock. All right. Robert McCray V. I've never seen anybody pass the 5th. I wonder if there's the 6th out there. But Robert McCray V.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
That's a lot of generations.
That's a lot of generations. Shout out to all the Robert McCrays, man. And he has to name his son the 6th.
Yeah, you got to.
Have to. All right.
I wonder if he's nicknamed 5.
He doesn't even wear number 5. Doesn't even make sense, man. He just, all right, man. Anyway, Robert McCray V, 6'4", 185, hometown, Columbia, South Carolina. That's not surprising, being a 5th generation Robert McCray. He originally started off at Wake Forest. He's at Jacksonville University now. Didn't Artis Gilmore go to Jacksonville? There was a throwback floating around back in the day. Somebody, Jacksonville. Maybe it was Jacksonville State. I don't want to get the two mixed up. But excuse me, I put in the codes, Ralph. I typed in the Bruce Brown codes, right? And that's what I came up with. Robert McCray. So at Jacksonville, he's averaging 17 points, 4.4 rebounds, 4.6 assists per game. Now, he fits the Bruce Brown mold, all right? Same physicality, right? 35% shooter from 3, 46% shooter unguarded. He has a lot of defensive potential. He moves his feet like a DB. 50 stocks. And, Ralph, the key, he is ambidextrous. He plays left-handed, shoots a lot of left-handed threes. But on the break, Ralph, that launching pad is right-handed. And he will bang on you, athlete. So, Robert McCray V. Actually, let me talk to Robert McCray IV. Listen. I get it. You get bucket. Your son gets buckets. But that may not be where the money is. You need to study this Bruce Brown tape. Go be a screening athletic guard, right? And you talked about South Bay. Listen, I'm trying to go play with Luka, right? You go screen for Luka, you're going to have a launching pad to dunk. You knock down corner threes. That's championship pedigree basketball. So to all the Robert McCrays out there in Columbia, South Carolina, that's the mode you got to follow. I get the buckets. That's cool. But knock down corner threes, slide your feet, be a screening guard. It's the blueprint, Rob.
And somebody may say, well, the Bruce Brown only worked when he was playing with Jokic.
It worked.
He got paid.
He got paid.
I don't know, has he played since? I always see him in the cowboy boots, but
how's he a cowboy from Boston, yo?
I don't know, man. League fits, man. I blame the site, man. League fits.
But listen, he was good in Brooklyn. He was hurt for Toronto. He is hurt. Maybe he gets traded today or tomorrow. But he was
with the Pacers, right?
Hey, he did take that bread from the Pacers.
Listen,
he's a champion, and guess what? Even if it isn't that same mode, Christian Brown isn't the screener, but the 6'5" cutter, dunker, rebounder mode, you can cash checks doing that.
Yeah. All right, I got one for you. This guy is the analytics favorite.
I already know.
We talked about him offline. James has some reservations about him, but I'll share mine too.
Go ahead.
This is Mr. Analytics, another player. Like last episode, we talked about Jackson Money, who was under the radar. This guy, Bennett Stirtz from Drake, 6'4", 180-pound junior. He's the transfer from Northwest Missouri State.
Hey, man, they recruited me out of high school, but they was like, yo, take this money. This is free money to go to school here. And I was like, where is Northwestern Missouri State, man?
It's close to the crib. I know it's close to Omaha.
I know it's close, but I'd have been out there in the fields, man. I couldn't do it.
Well, Bennett Stirtz, 18 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, shooting 49.7% from the floor. He's shooting 35% from 3, but he's averaging 2.5 steals per game, but 6.2 assists, only 1.8 turnovers is impressive. He is a player that is filling up your analytics. He's an analytical darling. The nerds that just crunch numbers on the computer absolutely love Bennett Stirtz. They love the playmaking, the steals, and his ability to score, and he has good size. What are your thoughts on Bennett Stirtz?
Man, I don't want to say I found him. I found out about him probably earlier this year. I want to say maybe a month ago. And like you said, all the numbers check out. When I got to watch him on film, I don't know, man. He didn't have too much R2 in this game, man. It wasn't a lot of turbo for me. And that was probably
you got to explain that to the people that don't play.
I'm sorry. He just doesn't move fast enough for me. And I get it. You don't got to be a blazing athlete to play point guard. You need to be heady. You need to make good decisions. But he just kind of lacked quickness to me. Now,
but can't you say the same about Yakachonis, though?
You can, but
about Kasparas Yakachonis, the freshman from Illinois that is projected.
I have the same concerns, but Yakachonis is what, 6'6"? Bennett Stirtz is how tall?
They got him at 6'4".
6'4". That's 2 inch different, but there is a 3-4 year age difference too.
I don't think it's 3 or 4. I mean, he's a junior.
Yeah, but I mean, at Northwest Missouri State, I think he was a senior. Is he a 5th year guy?
No, he's I got him.
All right. Well, there's a 2-year age difference, and I'm buying Yakachonis as a 10-year NBA player, But as far as a franchise point guard, I'm a little hesitant, just because the athleticism, being able to get to the rim, kind of worry me about him. But Stirtz, he'll get an opportunity, but I think he might be your perennial EuroLeague point guard. And there's definitely no shame in that because, you cash and checks and the European atmosphere is great, but I don't know if he's an NBA player.
Yeah, the thing about Stirtz that's interesting is despite not having a lightning quick first step or, he's going to wow you athletically. He's averaging 5.5 free throw attempts per game. So he's getting to the line, and he's on fire. Like, he just had a game against Murray State. Shout out to John Morant's alma mater. 23 points, was 9 of 16 from the floor. Prior to that, he had a 30-point game against Southern Illinois where he was 11 of 17 from the floor, 3 of 4 from three. I mean, he has been like on a roll. He had a game against Valparaiso where he got to the line 11 times, was 11-11 from the free throw line. He's had some performances with 9 assists, 2 9-assist games. He had a 12-assist game where he had 30 points and 5 rebounds against Illinois Chicago. He's put up some good numbers as far as scoring, playmaking, but then on the defensive end, he's also getting 2.5 steals per game. So my question is, I wonder, like, is there, like, if you like Kaspar Jakachonis, then you probably like Bennett Stirtz. Yes, Stirtz is older, a couple inches shorter, which is, I'm not downplaying that, like, not saying like that's not significant. However, Jakachonis turns the rock over at a high rate, and one of the things that Stirtz does is he takes care of the ball. 3.4 assist to turnover ratio. Now, we talked about it before. You want like your wings to have 2-to-1. You absolutely love for your guards to be 3-to-1. I mean,
if my point guard isn't 3-to-1, he better be a dynamic scorer.
Right. And he's 3.4-to-1, and he's providing scoring.
He's only 21.
Why isn't he getting more love? I mean, I know the nerds love him, and when I say nerds, I'm not saying it like a derogatory word. I'm saying it in the guys that love to crunch the numbers and so on. But I know the analytics guys love him. Why is he not getting more love?
I need to run the tape and see who Drake has played in the in the non-conference. I know he had a game and he played.
He had Miami. I mean, Miami's not good. He made Miami 21, 6-6.
That's good. He played well against Miami. Miami's not good though.
Vanderbilt. He had 16 points, 11 assists, 5 rebounds against Vanderbilt. That's an SEC team. That's a game that they won.
Okay. Maybe I need to reevaluate him then.
Kansas State, not a great team. 22 points, 4 assists. He was 8 of 13 from the floor. Another game that they won.
Interesting. Well, I guess you could say the difference between him and Jakachonis is the age, 2 inches of height, and then obviously you don't have any control over who you play against. But one guy's playing in the Big Ten, and Drake is not in the Big Ten. So
yeah. I remember Drake was, and they might still be in the Missouri Valley. I just remember Drake and Creighton used to be big rivals. Now Creighton has moved on to the Big East. Well, that wraps up this episode of the Locked On NBA Big Board Podcast. Again, a fun one, Deep Sleepers Part 2. Look up some of these names, do your own research. Let us know your thoughts on a few of these prospects that we believe deserve more love. Check out the Locked On newsletter at lockedondaily.com because there's going to be a lot of information on there after the big trade deadline tomorrow. And once again, thank you for making this your first listen of the day. We are out of here.